Okay, with the introduction of planetary landings, Frontier have had to introduce some extra HUD elements because basically now our ships have turned into planes. And also, you will see the same thing on buggies. Basically, you need some extra information when you're flying over the surface of a globe, and planes have them nowadays, especially combat fighters and things like that. And if you are a pilot in real life, or you've played flight simulators before, you know what they all mean, and the only reason you're here is to try and find me making a mistake. And there'll be loads of those, so please go away. We really don't need that. I'm going to try and explain what all of them are. Wow, look at that. Yeah, I'm going to try and explain what all of them are to people that don't know. So let's start with the attitude indicator, which is the central thing here in the middle. As you can see, it always stays perpendicular to the surface relative to where you are. And also, the 0 always aligns to the horizon, at least tangential to the surface of the globe. When you're really high up, it won't actually point at the horizon. When you're really low down, it might point at, below the mountains, but basically, it's tangential to the surface. So, you can use it like this. That means we're pointing 5 degrees above the horizon. And if we go all the way up to 45, then we're going at a perfect launch trajectory. And if we're going at 90, we're going directly away from the surface. Got it? And the same is true otherwise. Also, it indicates your roll. It's just a visual indicator to give you a rough picture of where you are. So if it is horizontal to you, that means the planet is to either directly to your left or to your right. It's just used as a visual aid, really. There's no actual numbers there. And yeah, so basically it gives you a combination reading of your pitch and your roll, which is basically what attitude is. And I don't mean attitude. So if you've got the attitude to try and point out what attitude is, go away again. Seriously, so many people watching this video trying to take the mick out of me. Right, above that you have the compass, and it is expressed in degrees. I guess probably because north, south, east and west doesn't make much sense when you're on a weird planet somewhere in space. Convention usually is 0/360 is North Pole. I don't know if that's how Frontier programmed it, but it would make sense that if you're pointing, if that says 360 or 0, that's the direction of the North Pole. Maybe it's the North Pole, it's probably the North Pole of the spin of the planet. And if it's not spinning, then well, I just don't. Okay, seriously, I don't know why you've been challenging me. Yeah, and 180 would be South Pole. This can be quite useful to work out your bearing, to coordinate directions, because you might be very far away from someone but want to head in similar directions, so you can just tell them head Mark 10, something like that. Yeah, so that's that. On the right hand side of the attitude indicator is the altitude indicator. As you can see, it says 6.5 kilometers and going down. It's because we are descending above the surface, because obviously there is no sea level. If it was on Earth, that would be above sea level, but thankfully it's above the surface, which is extremely useful because it helps you also determine when you're about to hit the ground. Okay, got it. Oops, it's gone dark. And that is really useful then to have your altitude indicator in order to not crash into the surface of the planet. Like now is very good. Right, on the right hand side of the altitude meter, you have an indicator. That longer green line right in the middle, basically means if it's just that line, the only one that's highlighted, it means you are not ascending or descending. It represents the vertical component of your vector. So now if I start descending, I'm holding a vertical thrust down, it's building up. And if it goes all the way into the red zone, which I will make it do now, that probably means that you're going to blow up as soon as you make contact with the ground. At other speeds you probably won't, but you'll take a lot of damage. Basically it's used to determine your vertical thrust, and that is actually extremely useful. Is it me or is it quite murky here? Has this planet got an atmosphere? Seems like it, doesn't it? Yeah, so it's very useful, especially in the buggy, because it will go into that red zone a lot, and it will tell you that you're travelling too fast down and you need to apply a bit of vertical thrust to try and compensate for that and soften the landing. Right, 3 more things you need to know about this new HUD. There are 3 numbers underneath the altitude. The top one is, I believe, the longitude, and the bottom one, I believe, is the latitude. They both go to plus 180 all the way down through 0 to minus 180, and they indicate how many degrees you are around the sphere. You can look it up. Basically, it's not that useful information. It can be basically used to help someone find you. You can say, oh, I'm at minus 69 plus 112, and they'll be able to try and locate you if they can't any other way. And then the number underneath that is the gravity at the current point that you are. So the closer we get to the surface, the larger that will get. Although it's probably not going to change very much. It's currently at 0.09 g. G is 9.81 meters per second, which is the surface gravity of Earth. And yeah, so this is basically about 9% of that, where we currently are. I am going to land now and show you that the buggy has all these things as well. Not aligned anymore, 1 second. There we go. Oh, still not aligned. Oh, there we go, there we go.
Hull integrity.
See, 2%, you have to have shields. Okay, so let's go into the buggy. And you'll see that this HUD is reflected there exactly, just in case you don't believe me. And I'll also show you how this vertical velocity vector component thingy bob indicator, so many words, is going to come in very useful. Uh-oh. I'm going to blow up. Oh, okay, good. Right. Here we go. Firstly, you'll notice that the attitude indicator is relative. Look how it turns, look how it changes. It is relative to the general average surface of the globe. Wow, okay. We've entered the twilight zone. Yeah, so obviously we're now on a hill. If I can just get to the ground for a second. Let's do it like this. Oh, we don't have it. We don't have it in the turret mode. That's a good thing to note. So right now we're actually pointing down. Okay, well, now we're pointing up, pointing up, pointing up, pointing down. Right, because we're pointing down, that means if we turn around, we're going to now be pointing up, and that's why it's at a slant, because, again, it's pointing basically relative to gravity. So gravity goes that way, at an angle slightly. Right, now, if we gain some air, you'll see on the right that vertical component indicator, velocity thingy, I need to find a better word for it, will appear, right, because we've got some, yeah, there we go, it just came, and it went into the red zone. If it's in the red zone, it means you're going to take some damage, which I just did. Wow, what is going on? It's beta, it's a beta, we're not complaining, we're not complaining. What? Okay. Ooh, it looks like the clipping, what's it called? Clipping plane does not match the texture plane for some reason. Whoa. Okay, anyway, I think I've made my point. But yes, if you learn to use all of these and you know what they all mean, then you can make better use out of all of them. So I hope this guide has been useful. I hope I haven't seemed too dumb. I mean, I haven't seemed too smelly, whatever. Basically, I didn't sleep last night because of the other video I made, so I'm actually running on silly juice at the moment. So hopefully I haven't made too many mistakes. So long, Space Cowboys.